Hello, my name is Lucas Wilfond, and this is my Spring 2024 final presentation on Tourette's Syndrome. This is a link to a YouTube video that breaks down Tourette's Syndrome pretty well, and it describes not just what it is, but how it's described to be and what it actually is as well. It's a really good video, and I suggest you check it out. The characteristics of Tourette's Syndrome. Tourette's Syndrome is a disorder that causes involuntary movements and sounds. These characteristics can be minor, such as a person repeatedly blinking or shrugging their shoulders. Some characteristics are more exaggerated, such as the loud blurting out of unusual sounds or explicit language. This is what I had in mind whenever I saw the topic of Tourette's Syndrome, and it's kind of stigmatized in that way. And you can hear that a child or a person has Tourette's Syndrome, and you may automatically think in your mind like, oh, they blurt out, they're very loud, they curse. This isn't always the case. You may just have some of the other characteristics that are minor, such as repeatedly blinking or shrugging of the shoulders. These characteristics typically begin manifesting between the ages of 2 to 15, with the average being around 6 years of age. Males are about 3 to 4 times more likely to develop Tourette's syndrome than females. I thought that fact was very interesting, and I'd like to know more about that. What causes Tourette's syndrome? According to research shown on Johns Hopkins' website, most cases of Tourette's syndrome is caused by genes. It's an autosomal dominant disorder, meaning that both boys and girls are affected, and that only one copy of the gene is needed to have the condition. So this is a very dominant condition if it's possessed by either parent. There's a 50% chance that a parent with Tourette's syndrome will pass the gene to their child. So no matter how many times they reproduce, there will always be a 50% chance that if the parent carries the gene, that they will pass it on to their child. In rarer cases, however, about 1 in 20 with Tourette's syndrome, the disorder is not caused by genetics. However, it could be caused by other things such as issues during pregnancy, low birth rate, head injury, carbon monoxide poisoning, or any kind of inflammation to the brain, such as some form of meningitis or something. How Tourette's syndrome impacts students. Tourette's syndrome can make school difficult for a child. Some characteristics of Tourette's syndrome, such as tics, make it difficult for a student to read or write. Also, students may get distracted during instruction by their tics and trying to prevent themselves from having them, in turn making them distracted. Tourette's syndrome is misunderstood by many people, which leads to kids being bullied and rejected. Kids with Tourette's syndrome have the same intelligence range as other students. With special education assistance and accommodations, this is reflected in their testing. I'd like to interject really quick that I work at a public school right now in elementary, and I work closely with a kid that has Tourette's syndrome. And like I said earlier, whenever they first introduced me to him, I was kind of leery because I thought, oh, he's got Tourette's, he's going to be hard to deal with, he's going to be loud, blurt out, all these things. He's a really good kid. He does have things he needs to fidget with in order to concentrate, and he does have a lot of the tics, such as the rapid blinking. He'll always clear his throat, and he has, like I said, things to fidget with to help him concentrate, but he has more of the minor symptoms and characteristics that can be treated medicinally. And that leads me into treatment for Tourette's syndrome. Treatment depends on the child's symptoms, age, and general health, and the overall severity of the condition. Typically, students with Tourette's syndrome can function well in a regular classroom and at home. There are treatments for Tourette's syndrome, such as special education assistance, psychotherapy, or medication. Intervention is a common treatment for Tourette's syndrome students with tics and help reduce tics. This is what I help do at my job. More severe conditions that involve ADHD or mood disorder may require medication in order to help the child. These are my references. I used the mayoclinic.org. There's a lot of good information on there. Johns Hopkins was very helpful in listing the conditions and diseases. And the CDC website, they had a lot of useful information on there about not just Tourette's, but how it impacts children in the classroom overall. That's the end of my slide, and thank you. Once again, this was my presentation for spring 2024 about Tourette's syndrome. Thank you.